this morning. It is 8 minutes to 8. And as we've been talking, it's cold. As the weather gets colder, it's time to make sure all our electrics are safe. We plug in more and more heaters and devices just to keep ourselves warm and to make ourselves more comfortable. But just how overloaded are our poor systems getting? And what should we do about it? Space heaters, electric heaters, and any other old electrical equipment that's been in storage should probably be checked before use. So how do you keep yourself safe? Pawel Podolski is the Executive Director of the NECA. It's the National Electronics Contractors Association, and he joins you this morning. Good morning, Pawel. It's the biggest danger using dodgy old appliances, or is it having too many plugged in at the same socket?
Good morning, James. Yes, it is very cold out there. I was just listening to the back of that. It's bloody freezing, and yes, heating is a wonderful thing. Look, I think to your question, both are just as bad, right? If you have a faulty appliance, that can catch fire, that can cause all sorts of problems with electrical installations. We never like to see sparks flying or that hissing noise. And equally, when we start putting all the appliances that we are now gotten accustomed to around our house, whether it's heating or the kettles, and generally everything starts running at the same time, that can put a lot of pressure on our electrical systems. In many cases, particularly in older homes, possibly not designed to run so many appliances.
Yeah, I was just thinking that because there are more and more ways to keep yourself warm, whether they, be an electric towel rack, which I recently purchased, or, those heated blankets, yet there are only so many power points in these old houses. How do you manage that?
Yes, so the problem is, as you say, the amount of power points, but that can probably get overcome, and many people overcome that by putting power boards in there so they can plug in more things, even though they don't have that many power points. And that's actually part of the problem, because we're now starting to put a lot of things running at the same time, drawing a lot of load, and heaters, by the way, they draw a lot of power. So if you've seen your heating bills or electricity bills in winter, that's why they draw a lot of power. So the more you put onto that same circuit, onto that same power board, onto the same power switch, that's actually where a lot of the problems start coming from.
So what's the way around that?
Well, firstly, make sure that your installation is fit for purpose and it's actually safe. Particularly, I mentioned the older homes before. Not only were they not always designed with the amount of appliances to be run at the same time, but they also don't all have safety switches in there. So having safety switches in your home, as opposed to, for those of you who can still remember the wire type sort of fuse that used to plug in, and when that sort of broke, you changed the wire and all was good. Well, with the appliances these days, that's not very safe. So make sure that you've got safety switches installed in your homes. That's probably the first and foremost things. And secondly, get a licensed electrician to check your installations, particularly if you're putting in more load in there, more heaters in there, or something's just not feeling right. It's not worth the risk.
Pawel Podolski is with you. He's the Executive Director of the National Electrical Contractors Association. We're talking about how to keep yourself safe in your home with all your electrical appliances in winter, particularly in winter, because a lot of you might be using more appliances to keep yourself warm. Should people... So we've talked about the power boards, so that's great. Are there particular appliances that people should be avoiding that might be becoming popular but are quite unsafe?
Look, I think the key thing is not so much to avoid or try to go for a certain model of appliance. Obviously, the more newer ones, they're more efficient, so they're preferable. However, the point is the danger comes from the electrical safety in your home in the first place. So don't overload your homes or putting too many things on at the same time versus what your home was designed for. Make sure you've got the right safety switches and make sure you do a safety check, just like you would with changing batteries in your smoke alarm, just like you would with maintaining your, whether it's air conditioning, heating, or anything major, any other major installations in your home, get your electrical wire checked.
Yeah, we mentioned older appliances, and some people might have appliances in their place that they have been using for perhaps even decades, if not years. What's the best way to make sure that they're still safe?
Again, I would strongly encourage people to call an electrician and actually get them checked. So in offices, many people working around the office environment, you'd normally see little tags on the cables. It's called the tagging and testing to make sure the appliances are safe. We don't necessarily do that as religiously in the homes, but with older appliances, it's not worth taking a risk. Have an electrician, licensed electrician, come check them at the same time. Make sure they check your switchboard and safety installations. That's probably the best insurance you can have.
Great. Pawel, just before you go, you've got 30 seconds, but tell me, when were you last really, really cold?
Actually, I was listening to the Swiss story. I actually was in Switzerland a few years ago, and it's bloody freezing there, so I have to go with that one.
Well, what were you doing? Anything in particular? Were you going through the Alps?
Yeah, I was. I was a bit of a skier back in my younger days, so yes, and it was bloody freezing.
Oh, Pawel, you keep warm this weekend. Thanks for your insights this morning.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
That's Pawel Podolski there, the Executive Director of the of NECA Victoria. James Findlay with you this morning.